Hi everyone, for those of you who don't know, my name is Rebecca and I'm a Muslim convert of 12 years. I just wanted to come on here today and talk about the first 3 months of looking after a baby. So I gave birth last November, which means my baby is now 3 months old and I've had 3 months of motherhood. One thing to note before I start is this is not my first experience of having a newborn. So I'm actually an early years teacher, qualified in 0 to 5. I've worked with newborns, I've worked with babies, I've worked with toddlers, I've worked with preschoolers, reception age. So kind of this isn't my first experience of this age group, but I just wanted to kind of share my journey as a first time mum because, I've never had a baby like full time, like it's always been in segments. So this is my first time having a baby full time. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, and I have to do this video really quickly because I'm actually currently trying to get my baby to sleep on my lap, is weight gain. So throughout pregnancy, I gained about 15 kilos, which was a lot of weight. So when I entered those first days of motherhood, and even now, I lost a lot of confidence in my body image and in the way I looked. Like, I used to be confident in the way that I looked, and then after I gave birth, like that confidence just went. Like, I had a lot of stretch marks, my body had gone through physical changes. I just felt so much less confident. And I don't want to scare mums to be, those people who are pregnant about, what it's going to be like afterwards, because some people don't even gain that much weight. I gained a lot of weight because I had really bad morning sickness, and the only thing that would alleviate that morning sickness was eating and food. So I ended up eating a lot when I was pregnant. I was also really hungry, and it just led to loads of weight gain, which really messed with my body image. I know I should be body positive and all of that, but definitely the weight gain really negatively affected the way I saw the way that I looked. And I have tried to start a diet to kind of alleviate that weight gain, but it's really hard. Like, I'm not eating now and I'm really struggling. And, I kind of do want to say, like, if you gain weight when you're pregnant, it's okay. Like, I'm 3 months now. I've just started losing weight. I've actually started Ozempic to try and help the weight gain. It's not really working. But, if you do gain weight, you can lose it. It's not the end of the world. Like, I am going to lose that weight before I have the next child. But yeah, it's kind of a bit upsetting for me that I've gained that much weight. I think another thing that I found really difficult after I don't want the baby to be on show. One thing that I found, why is it still on show? Let's move it that way. There we go. One thing that I found very difficult after I gave birth was keeping up with my prayers and getting in time for Islamic lessons and things like that, because after you give birth, like, the baby cries, not all the time, but cries quite a lot and wants to be held. Or they want entertainment. Even now, I find it quite difficult because he needs a lot of entertainment, he needs a lot of stimulation, he needs holding, he needs this, he needs that. I found it really difficult to keep up with my prayers and get them done, just because I felt like I constantly needed to attend to him, and it made praying really difficult, especially now he sleeps for like short amounts of time. Like, he does sleep, but I find like I'm trying to do stuff, trying to get my prayers in. Like, I did find it a little bit more difficult than perhaps I did before. And especially like because I used to do a lot of Quran journaling, I'm finding that really difficult to do with a newborn. I've hardly done it. Like, I'll start doing it, then he'll wake up and I won't be able to do it. And it's just like a constant cycle of that, basically. The thing about the initial first 10 days, the first couple of days after I gave birth, I was fine. And then I think like day 3 or 4 hit and I was like a wreck. Like, I was just crying all the time. I got really bad baby blues. Like, I would cry hysterically. Like, it would just be crazy. And obviously, because I'm bipolar, I'm under the mental health team. So, when I had these really hysterical crying, I actually went to the hospital because I was hysterically, because I thought I had something wrong with me. I didn't. But they called me in because I was crying a lot, and I literally hysterically cried while I was there. And they were just like, this woman was like, I can't do a blood when she's crying like that. And it was just a lot. The first 10 days, I've never cried so much as I did in those 10 days. And I think a lot of women get the baby blues. I didn't get postnatal depression. It wasn't a long-term thing. It was actually a very short-term thing. But I just know, like, if you give birth, you might get the baby blues and that's going to be difficult, but you can manage it. I managed it, unless it turns into postnatal depression, it's manageable. In terms of my experience of actually caring for the newborn, to be honest, I don't find it difficult. They eat, they sleep, they feed, they have nappy changes, they play. for me, I kind of already knew what to do from that experience I have as an early years teacher. So kind of play activities and things like that. I'm thinking of doing a video on play. So if you'd be interested in that, please let me know. Obviously, I wouldn't put my baby in the video. He's on my lap now, I'm not showing him. Just because privacy reasons, and he's not consented to have those pictures. So I just kind of don't put my baby online. But if you would like me to do a play video where I kind of talk through what activities we do, I'd be happy to do that from, you know, literally newborn to 3 months. I could do a video, just let me know. But yeah, caring for the newborn, I didn't find it too hard. I think what was hard was keeping up with everything else. So like doing the dishes, sterilising the bottles, all these sort of things, like keeping the house at a reasonable standard was really difficult when you've got a newborn, just because they require a lot of attention, you're tired, you might not be sleeping at night. You know, it becomes quite difficult to do all of those things, and I'm just grateful that he is a good sleeper now, so I'm more able to kind of be awake in the day, be alert, get those things done. But it's quite hard, to be honest, to get all the housework done and other things that you want to do get done when you've got a newborn. But I definitely found my rhythm of having my newborn. I think the first few days, because of the hormone shift, it was hard. And then as soon as my hormones, my oxytocin settled down, I felt so much better, and literally like I'm thriving as a mum now. I think there's a lot of negativity online about motherhood, you know, people saying, oh, it's awful, this and that, it's really hard. I haven't found it too hard, to be honest. Like, it's just not been hard for me so far. It will get harder as he gets older, because as they get older, they get more active. They just get a little bit more needing stimulation and that sort of thing compared to when they're little or when they're a newborn. Like, they become... Some people, to be fair, find the newborn stage really difficult. I haven't. So I'm kind of expecting to find the other stages a little bit more hard, even though they are more interesting and perhaps more rewarding in some ways. But I kind of want to emphasize that motherhood has been a good experience so far to me. Like, there's so much negativity online about motherhood. Oh, don't have children, it's going to be awful, don't do this. Like, before motherhood, I was so scared. Like, there was so much in my mind about postnatal depression, postnatal psychosis, not bonding with baby, having a terrible time, it being really difficult, it being really hard. And, you know, the first 3 months for me have not been like that. And I think I kind of just want to say to people, like, it's not necessarily going to be terrible. Like, we're always painted this image of like this terrible time that you have when you have a baby, and for me it's not been a terrible time. It's been literally the best time of my life. Like, although there's been difficulties in this period of my life, you know, not being able to get things done, constantly attending to someone, it has been one of the best periods in my life, and I can say that with confidence. Like, it's given me so much purpose, so much happiness, just so much happiness. And I think, you know, having a child is such a blessing, and I think that's even the way Allah describes having a child, like it is a blessing. And I feel like in the modern day and the age of social media, it's kind of presented as something that's not a blessing, particularly by people that don't have children. Actually, it's not so much the people that have children that are saying it's awful, it's more the people who are child free or don't want to have children or that sort of thing, like child free by choice. They tend to say a lot of negative things about having children, and it can kind of affect your mind. But I think when you think of having children, just go into it with an open mind, be open to it being good or bad. Don't have any expectations that it's going to be like this or it's going to be like that. Just go into it completely open-minded, because I had quite a lot of negative thoughts before I went into it, that this bad thing would happen, that bad thing would happen, and I don't think it was helpful. I think ultimately it did work out well. And I think something I wanted to talk about as well, which is in my experience of the first 3 months of motherhood, was the idea of having a compassionate mind. So during my first 3 months of pregnancy, I started a course or a group therapy session I would call compassion focused therapy. And the whole idea is to have motivation to alleviate suffering that you have yourself, and wisdom behind how to do that. So it's kind of giving you the tools and the motivation to alleviate any suffering you might have from pregnancy. It's supposed to increase bonding, reduce postnatal depression, that sort of thing. And the crux of it is to be compassionate with yourself, recognize your emotions without judgment, be mindful, this sort of thing. I don't know how to talk about it in like a concise way, but it's not really been that helpful for me, to be honest, because I've already done all this work around compassion, depression, I've already done CBT, CAT, so it wasn't that helpful for me. I'm not quite sure why I got put on this by the mental health team, but they put me on compassion focused therapy anyway. And I think if you are struggling with postnatal depression, I'd really look into compassion focused therapy. In the UK, we actually have a scheme called Books on Prescription, or Reading Well books, which you can get in your local library, and one of them is like compassion focused therapy for postnatal depression. I bought the book on Amazon for my Kindle, and it was £3. So I think it's a really good book to get if you are struggling with postnatal depression. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. So I've covered baby blues, I've covered weight gain, I've covered like how I found motherhood, I've covered like my therapy sessions. I don't really think there's anything else I want to cover in this video. There probably is other stuff I could say, but as I've said, I've got a newborn in my lap and I don't really want to keep going and going and going with everything that I could say, because sometimes I don't have time. I've got a baby now. Like, I don't have time for really long videos. He's probably gonna wake up soon. And yeah, I just don't have time. So this video is going to be what it's going to be. And yeah, thank you for watching my rambly, lot of information video.